roll call. I guess I guess what we do is who is missing here. It's Steve's here and Roxy's here and Peggy's here. Leslie is not here. That's right. Our chair. But everybody else is, so we're fine. Okay. Now, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? No. Nod your head because I can see most of you. Okay. If you haven't, I'll give you a couple of minutes here. Okay, now I'd like to call for a vote for the approval of the minutes. Anybody want to make a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, but it's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about the minutes? No? Okay, the minutes have been approved as submitted. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the board business. We have something under trustee short takes. So did somebody want to discuss that, Patrick?
So we're gonna watch the video again, and I just realized that when I clicked share, I didn't do the audio, so I'm gonna just stop that share and then share my computer sound so we don't run into the same issue as last time.
All right.
And so it's just a 10-minute video. In watching through it already, I learned that I have a lot to change, and so I will make those changes. It's about board meetings. It's nice learning what I need to do better, I guess.
You need to change some things in the board meetings? Is that what you said? Okay.
Board packet. Did we lose me? I'm getting all sorts of notifications. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. So it was just saying that we needed to create a board packet with more handouts for you guys to see and get it to you beforehand. But you'll see what I mean. A lot of these things I feel like we're doing, it's just a, hey, Patrick, you should change. So I'm happy to make things run more smoothly. So I'll start this and we can discuss briefly afterwards.
Welcome to Short Takes for Trustees. I'm Beth Novolinsky, the Director of Marketing and Communications for United for Libraries. We are the division of the American Library Association for trustees, advocates, friends, and foundations. Today I'm here with our Executive Director, Sally Gardner-Reed, and we'll be speaking about effective board meetings. Sally, can you tell us, are there qualities that make a board meeting effective for both governing boards and advisory boards?
Yes, actually there are. And the first, maybe the most important one, is for everyone to come prepared. It's important for the library director to send out a board packet at least a week, if not 10 days ahead of the meeting. And then it's very important for the board members to actually read it. That board packet should contain the agenda, which the director has worked out with the board president or chair ahead of time. It should include the director's report, use statistics, a budget report, department reports, any publicity about the libraries, any trends that might impact the library, all the things that the director feels are important for the board to know. If they're reviewing policies, a copy of the policy or policies that they will be reviewing should be included. And then it's important for the board to follow that agenda and to adhere to the parliamentary procedure that governs their board meetings.
Well, is the parliamentary procedure really important? I mean, if you have a small board, do you really have to be all that formal?
It's really more important than you might think, and here's why. The whole purpose of parliamentary procedure is to ensure that there is equality on the board, that everyone has a chance to weigh in on an issue, and that no one person dominates. So one of the principles of parliamentary procedure is that no one gets to speak twice on an issue before everyone at least has a chance to speak once. So that's really important. And in fact, even the chair and the president and/or president doesn't have a chance to speak more than once on an issue before everyone has had a chance to speak twice. That chair doesn't have any more authority on the board than anyone else. Everybody is equal on a board of trustees.
I'm surprised to learn that the chair or president doesn't have more authority than anyone else.
No, that's interesting, isn't it? In fact, according to the standard code of parliamentary procedure, the board president or chair doesn't even vote on an issue typically unless it's to break a tie. So again, it's that person's responsibility to actually facilitate the meeting and ensure that there's not one person who's dominating, that there isn't a bully on the board. I've been on a number of boards that have had bullies, that by dint of personality, someone sort of just takes over, dominates the conversation, and really tries to get his or her way on an issue. And I've seen way too often the rest of the board sort of back away, not wanting conflict and feeling like it's better to go along to get along. And it's a very unfortunate situation. When it's the board president who acts that way, it's especially daunting. So because everybody has equal authority on the board, I think it's important for all board members to understand that when they let this happen, they're complicit as well in letting this happen. It's a very difficult situation, and it's very damaging to the board dynamics, and ultimately can be very damaging to the library itself if left unchecked. It's certainly an odd position and a hard position to put the director in, because if these decisions and if this bully is having his or her way and the director disagrees or feels like it's taking the library in the wrong direction, he or she doesn't have a way to intervene. Only the board can, and if they're not doing it, they're really derelict in their duties. So it's important for all board members to understand no one has any more authority, not by office or any other way, than any other member on that board.
So it seems like it's really incumbent upon the board to speak collectively and make decisions as a whole. Can you give us some ways in which the board can come together and have discussions where everyone really can be engaged and involved and take part?
I think it's a great idea to have a part of every agenda dedicated to having a strategic discussion about how the strategic plan is going, and how it's meshing with the changes in our environment. We are living in such dynamic times. Things are changing at a rapid rate. The economy, the demographics, technology, all of these things are really changing. So even though you have a strategic plan in place for 3 to 5 years, the fact of the matter is things are changing much more rapidly than that. And I think it's a great opportunity to sort of relook at the plan every month. Where are you going? How are things changing? What kinds of opportunities are out there that weren't out there even a month ago, and what the library should be doing to capture them, that sort of thing. That's a really rich and exciting conversation to take place. And decisions don't need to be made, but just to discuss it, to sort of highlight the ways in which the library needs to move and opportunities that the library might want to be looking at, new partners that the libraries might want to engage.
I know these meetings have to be open to the public, right?
Yes, in fact, all 50 states have an open meeting law. They may vary slightly in particulars, but generally speaking, all meetings must be posted and open to the public. They need to advertise when they're going to be held, where, and what time. They need to be accommodations made for people to come in and sit, and accommodations for people with disabilities to attend. There are minutes that need to be kept and posted following the meetings. In many, if not most cases, there needs to be accommodations for people to tape either audio or visual those meetings. Most agendas allow for public comments at the meeting. So very much open meetings. These apply to all agencies that receive government funding. Now, every state is slightly different, so it's incumbent upon boards to check and see what particulars apply to them in their states.
Are there any occasions where the public is not allowed to attend a meeting?
There are, of course, times when the board needs to speak on sensitive issues, and in these times they can call an executive session. And generally speaking, these executive sessions are regarding personnel issues, specific personnel issues, and contracts. So if they're talking about a particular person, staff member, board member, or if they're talking about a particular contract, competitive bid, they can go into executive session. Generally speaking, they come out of this session, they report in general terms. They say the board discussed a staff issue, or the board discussed competitive bids regarding our future edition on the library. And then they reconvene the public meeting, or if it's at the end of the meeting, they simply adjourn.
I know of cases where the board votes on a controversial issue and then one or two dissenting board members make their views public. Is that okay? Is it just a matter of free speech?
No, that's not okay. All the dissension in the world can happen during the discussion at the board meeting. Everybody has an opportunity to air their views and do so in respectful ways, and everybody has their say. But once the board votes, and according to parliamentary procedure, majority rules. So once the board votes, it becomes a board decision, and individuals now become the collective whole. So it's a board vote. The only way I know of for individuals to speak out publicly against a board vote would be to resign from the board, and then as individuals, of course, they can object to any board decision. We're going to be talking at a future webcast about board ethics, and we can talk more about the responsibilities of a fiduciary in terms of those ethics and speaking out against a board vote. But the simple answer is no.
Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share about effective board meetings?
Effective board meetings are collegial and respectful. Everyone has an equal say, including the library director. The president or chair ensures that no one dominates the meeting, either by time or personality. Everyone has something to contribute. That's why they're there. So great library boards and great meetings really translate into great library services.
Well, thank you for that wonderful discussion about effective board meetings. I hope that our viewers have learned some helpful tips that they can use in their own future board meetings. And to our viewers, we've compiled a list of additional resources which your director will provide to you. We invite you to explore those resources and discuss any questions you have with your library director. Thank you.
So what I got from that is that I need to do better at getting you a board packet. And so I will, which it'll include the agenda, I guess, before you get the official agenda notice from the city as well. And then kind of a copy of just the highlights of what my report will be, including some usage stats and financial reports, the things that we talked about in past meetings that you want to see. I'll just give that to you as well, and then you'll have a physical copy or electronic copy to follow along as I do the report at the meeting. There was one other thing I wanted to make sure. She mentioned that sometimes the chair doesn't vote. In Oregon, there's an odd number so that our chair can vote. So that's why she is or he is a voting member to create that odd number so there's not a tie, I guess. And then I wanted to know, she mentioned the strategic plan. I'm assuming some of you were involved with the creation of the last, and some of you have not seen it or really known what is going on with our strategic plan for the library. Is that something that you would like to have me email a copy to you of? Okay, I'm seeing some yeses and hand raising, so I will track down that link. It's just going to be a Word document. If you don't have a way to open Word, just email me back and I'll create a PDF and send it to you that way. I was also wondering if it would be helpful to get a link to you all with Oregon's open meeting law, just so you can peruse that in all your free time. I know library or open meeting law is super fun to look at. Is that something you'd be interested in as well, or do we think we've got a handle on that?
Yeah, I don't need a copy of that.
I don't either.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine.
Having in my last position worked with a lot of library boards to understand Idaho's open meeting law, this is not something I've seen a problem with us so far, and the city really is good to keep us on track. So I won't send that, but I will email out the handout that went with this meeting as well. So I'll get a copy of the strategic plan and the handout that went with this training to you all. Probably tomorrow is when I'll be able to track down that strategic plan. So look for that email to you all tomorrow.
How effective can we be on this regarding the strategic plan during these times?
Not.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, it's
That's
like,
why I chuckled a little bit when she said things change all the time. I'm like, well, yeah, we've changed quite a bit since that plan was written.
clearly
But
they don't. That was pre-COVID.
yep, it absolutely was.
But at this
So
point, I'm thinking it's sort of like a waste of time to try to come up with a strategic plan as long as we're in this kind of
the way
zone.
that I've looked at the strategic plan most is, at least since I've been here, is to see where the library, where the goal of the board and the city had the library heading, so that even though we're going at a slower pace, there's still a trajectory, right? There's still somewhere to keep our eyes on. That's when I keep my eyes open on grants a lot of the time. The strategic plan helps me say, okay, this is the kind of grant that we're going for because this money would help us to achieve our goal in this way.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So
I guess we could all use a copy.
yep, I'll get that to you all.
Okay.
And I think we've got a little while till we have to rewrite our strategic plan.
Yeah.
And if COVID lasts for forever, or the shutdown, as long as that just means we get to push it off more because we didn't achieve what we were going to do because situation changed. So now we can set that goal again if it's
Sure.
still worthwhile at the time. So, all right, I will get those to you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Does anybody have anything they want to comment on with regard to the last little video? Anybody have any comments?
No, I just that I am enjoying these videos, and I'm controlling myself not to go into my login that I set up with it to watch it in advance, because I think it is a good topic for all of us to go through. But back to Patrick, the strategic plan. I can't recall with the City of Independence when the kind of the annual plan from the different divisions, when they have reports in about here's what our goals for the upcoming, I don't know if it's a fiscal year goal or a calendar year goal, but I've seen some city documents where all the major division heads, street department, this and so on, saying here's what our challenges are going to be, and this is what we want to accomplish in the next something year. Marilyn would be the best to be able to answer that, but I don't know if Marilyn's got sound or not.
I do have sound. That would be in the budget, especially the capital improvement plan.
Well, Marilyn, there's a time of year that all the department heads and this council and everything meet to set goals for the year. And what is that generally sometime in February or something like that?
It's about that time. It has not been set yet.
Okay.
Because, it probably will be delayed by a month or two because we have 2 new counselors coming on board.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they just finished counselor training on that this month. So I'd look for it in February or March.
Thanks, Marilyn. My only answer was going to be, I'll look and see, and I know it happened before I got here, but now I know springtime, we'll plan on that then.
Okay. Is anybody any more? Did that answer your question, Steve, or are you satisfied? Or
Yes, it does.
okay, good. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, I guess we can move on to the library manager report. So Patrick, you're on.
Okay, just making sure I'm still unmuted. It's going to be short because not much has changed. We're still not open, and staff are still mostly working from home. The big takeaways, we're still able to do a lot of holiday book checkouts, in part because we have started for children's books doing a blind grab bag. You just people call and say, hey, we want one, or they email us and say, hey, we want one, and then we just give them a handful of books, of the picture books that way. Thinking behind that being I mean, yes, we do want to see circulation increase. We're still doing very, very good as far as that's concerned. But the thinking is most of the time when picture books are checked out in the normal times, it's not because they've been placed on hold and waited for and someone wants that specific picture book. It's more because as people have gone through the library and looked through the shelves, that one has caught their eye. And so since we're not open, we've seen holds for fiction and holds for young adult and holds for nonfiction have all been working great. There's just been fewer holds for picture books. So we've started doing that and seen those numbers. I anticipate they'll jump since we just started that a week or two ago. They'll jump this next month for our children's books. We have had in December, normally we've tried to do one different take it and make it kit for people to follow along with. In December, we've had 3. We did a take and make ornaments, take and bake, I guess, cookies, gingerbread cookies, and then a gingerbread house decoration as well with milk cartons and things like that. I thought there would be a little bit of crossover, but not. I thought people would pick and choose, just my pessimistic self. And instead, we've seen pretty much people have taken all 3 going that way. So we've had about 150 now people take those up. The cookies, we were lucky enough to partner with Ovenbird Bakery there, just on Main Street, and they provided all the cookies for us. So we tried to rush those out to people as quickly as we could because no one wants a week-old stale cookie, especially those gingerbread ones. They're so good. We're recording. This can be an official meeting. I'll make sure we write it in the notes. Buy a gingerbread cookie from Ovenbird. They're delicious. So that's my official plug there. Other than that, the weeding project has obviously taken a slow down since I'm at home instead of at the library, but we have now finished all of the nonfiction, that's my dog, sorry, large print, Spanish nonfiction, regular nonfiction. All of the nonfiction has been finished on both sides there, which leaves, and by both sides, again, that's things that have never checked out and then things that haven't checked out for the past 3 years, ignoring the Oregon and aviation collections. So that means we're moving on to the fiction next, is where we'll be headed with that. Once a week when I go into the library, I pretty much just spend all day paying bills and then waiting so that we're caught up financially and then caught up with that. We have finally been a part of Better World Books long enough that they have given us our first report on the amount of book sales that we've had. We sold 150 as of Wednesday last week, $153.10 worth of books, which got the friends, they'll get a check for about $20 based on that, but that's $20 that they didn't have before. And it's work they didn't have to go through to get that as well. So with this just being the first month of that report, I anticipate those will go much higher and they'll earn more that way.
Well, Patrick, Sandy and Stan are not keeping the library bookstore open anymore.
Yes. Yeah. They, when the city shut down a second time or paused, they decided to close the Friends book sale again. That is correct.
Have there been people donating books at all
to the library?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we're still getting those donations. We're still going through the process and then just boxing them up in hold until we can get the ones to the Friends group that are going to the Friends group.
Yeah, because I noticed that I went in the library, the old library, where the Friends bookstore is, and noticed that there were a lot fewer books on the shelves than ever before. So I guess they've done a pretty good job of weeding them out. So now we need some donations.
Yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the past or not, but they've given, when I bring some boxes from the library, then they've got boxes that are already boxed up and ready to go that have been at good or been there long enough that then they pass on to Goodwill.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
But that's my super brief. We're treading water. Communications with the city have said hopefully pray for, anticipate maybe a middle of January, possibly February-ish when people are back to work there, working full time, and then still on board for our. We've started doing things to make it so that we can open. We've got plexiglass screens that are going to go between computer stations, and at the front desk we've got those automatic hand sanitizing stations that will place at both doors. But we are kind of just following the lead of the people that tell us what to do for when we open up again.
Okay, well, does it have anything to do with when the schools open their doors to classrooms, or?
Before last week or 2 weeks ago, the answer was yes, but now schools have their own metric and they can reopen when they follow their things technically as early as January 1st is what I believe the order was. The city has told me we're kind of following the county's extreme risk, high risk, whatever those categories are right there, and we'll follow those for when we open up again. So
Okay.
it may coincide with when the school is in person again, but it is not directly tied to that.
I see. Thank you. Okay, is that the end of your report?
That's my spiel. Yep.
Oh, that was a good report too. Okay.
And next month you'll have it in paper with financial records in front of you.
Oh my gosh, and we can ask you all kinds of questions. Okay, I guess I'll move on to unfinished business. Does anybody have anything they want to say about what was discussed the last few months? Talk about it at all? We don't have any items listed, but anybody? Nope. Okay.
Just
And what?
yeah, one question or
Sorry.
comment for Patrick. Hearing that the Friends of the Library old library room is getting pretty thin of books. Patrick, I know we talked before, there are certain ways that people can still donate books. And that might be a great thing for the next door social messaging that goes out from the city a lot of times that, hey, folks, you got a bunch of gift books for Christmas. You're going to thin out things. Here's when the library is going to be accepting donations. That might be something that could...
Yeah. And we do have, I'd say 20, 30 boxes at the library that are going to that book sale. It's just that they're not open to get them from gone through at the library to gone through or to put on the shelves of the Friends group. So
okay, so it's not that you don't have any books to give them; it's there's no one to receive them.
Yes.
Or and stock them.
Yep.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But what Steve suggested is still a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That year round, yeah, because you might need a book on your shelf, and then what you don't want, we get it. So that's good. Okay, thank you, Steve.
Okay.
All right, and new business. Anybody have any announcements or anything, or something they want to give Patrick a new job to do? No. Well, I just want to report quickly on the Friends of the Library. It just, of course, we haven't had any minis, but we did get a donation of $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Leon, who live in Monmouth. So that's very nice for the Independence Library to get a $100 donation. So just this last week, I think it was.
That's all. And you sent them a card or will?
I do. I sent them a letter. It's
Thank you.
Thank you letters, being ever so grateful. So yeah, that's why that's why I like to know about it. Okay, is there any more discussion on anything? Do you would like to make a motion to adjourn, or anybody? Nobody wants to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.